It is time to talk about Raphael. It is time to talk about everyone's favorite sassy fish god, Raphael. Guys, don't be fooled by his sassy, pouty exterior. This man is actually a serial killer because he's got a bounty on his head. And I gotta say, apart from Silas's English voice actor, he's my second favorite one. I really love how his English voice actor brings so much life into this character. Also guys, just a quick disclaimer, the sassy fishman is not my main, so I will most definitely miss a lot of things. So as per usual, feel free to have a discussion down in the comments. I absolutely love reading all your theories and what you have to say about his character, and just point out things that I missed. Unfortunately, because he is not my main, I do not have all of his cards, so I will link all of the footage that I used in this video down in the description. So thank you so much for all the wonderful people that have uploaded their cards and their myths on YouTube. I will be discussing the main story, his myth, his anecdotes, and everything that I can think of that is important to his character overall. Okay, let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about the main storyline first. So our main character's first meeting with Raphael is when she was a child. She found him stranded on a beach. It's possible that the tsunami caused by the Chrono Rift catastrophe brought him to the surface, basically setting the stage for their first encounter. So she helps him in this brief moment of connection and promised to meet each other at the same spot every year, but then she loses all her memory of the event because of the fever that she keeps having, which might have been linked to experiments conducted on her as a child. Raphael returns to the beach the following year, and the year after that, and the year after that, searching for her, but she never came back. As usual, you guys know the drill. Our main character, she does not remember a goddamn thing. Eventually they meet up again when she became a hunter and had to investigate during their first mission as a hunter. So we know Raphael as the eccentric artist who owns Mo Art Studio in White Sand Bay and asked us to become his bodyguard. So his paintings have an uncanny ability to leave a lasting impact on anyone who sees them. Many of his works revolve around Lemuria, an ancient oceanic civilization intricately connected to our main character's story as well. I actually love all of his scenes in the main story, especially this one. It's so iconic. And what I really love about Raphael is how he is so unapologetic with how needy and how clingy he is. Like when I saw this Bond memory for the first time, I was like, excuse me, calm down.
So you do remember. Do you know what time it is? It's been 800 years. Jellyfishes are walking naked, sea turtles climb trees, sharks are eating grass for free, and finally you remembered me.
Why am I kind of into it? We do all kinds of shenanigans together in the main story, and again, I absolutely love their interaction and their dynamics together. So details about his myth and his origins can be found so early in the beginning of the main story. This guy Raymond, the one that we had to investigate for our first mission, this whole painting scene, it's all related to his myth and his anecdotes. I mean, duh, like the mermaid skeleton could not be more obvious. But before we get into that, guys, I gotta be honest, before I made this video and did an actual deep dive into his character, I did not expect it to be like this. Before this, I did not know a lot about Raphael. And Raphael girlies, I need you guys to hold my hand throughout this video because I did not expect his story to be so miserable and dark. Okay, now that we've prepared ourselves, let's establish his two myths that we have so far. God of Tides, Forgotten Sea, and Abysswalker, Sea of Golden Sands. So even though Abysswalker was released first, based on the context of both myths, I'm gonna assume that the events happened in Abysswalker myth happened after God of Tides. So I'm gonna talk about the God of Tides first. So in this myth, Raphael is a very rebellious young god, defying Lemuria's tradition and yearning to bridge the divide between the ocean's depth and the human world. He's constantly defying traditions and his elders. So our main character was nearly sacrificed in this myth and he rescued her. She kissed him so she could survive because she remembered a legend that says a Lemurian kiss can let one breathe in watery depths, creating this special bond. And then he made her his special follower. And they got to know each other and fell in love. His fateful bond with a human follower our main character, is the heart of this myth. Their love grows amidst Raphael's conflict with his elders' expectations, culminating in his pivotal choice during the sea god's coming-of-age ceremony. Instead of taking our main character's heart, his follower's heart, to reignite Lemuria's flame, Raphael gives her his own, prioritizing their love over his divine duty. This act of defiance plunges the ocean into darkness and results in the destruction of Lemuria's temple. Raphael's love for our main character, while pure, becomes his undoing. This myth ends in tragedy, with Raphael's death and Lemuria's decline. His choice to give up his divine purpose for love highlights the clash between following his heart and doing what's best for everyone else, leaving Lemuria in darkness and broken apart. Also, while we're talking about his myth, in the newest card, in the Nightly Rendezvous card, I think we bit him in the same spot as we did in the myth, and I just find these parallels really cute, and I love pointing it out. And in Abysswalker, this myth picks up thousands of years later. Editing Angel here, I forgot to mention that in Abysswalker, this takes place in Philos. Okay, bye. The seas have dried and Lemuria is lost, and Raphael is reincarnated as the last sea god, haunted by fragmented memories of the past and guided by Elder Amund? Also, side note, I really don't like this elder's vibe. I don't like him. So he is told that the key to restoring the seas lies in reclaiming his heart from our main character, who is now immortalized in legend as his betrayer. Yet Raphael, even in this distant future, questions the truth of the prophecy. Also, unlike his youthful defiance in Forgotten Sea, Raphael in this myth feels a lot more introspective. I don't know, he feels more mature in this myth. But anyways, despite the desperation of his people and his fading flame, he once again chooses love over duty. Rather than take back his heart and destroy our main character, he rewrites the prophecy itself, erasing our main character from its pages and severing their eternal vow. Our main character loses all memories of Raphael. The myth ends with ambiguity, as Lemuria remains buried, and the bond between our main character and Raphael lingers as an unresolved thread. Thankfully, by the end of the myth, our main character managed to remember Raphael again, even though he rewrote the prophecies. And by doing that, he basically erased her memories. But somehow, she managed to remember him again, and they both left to go to Lemuria. So both myths grapple with the conflict between personal love and divine obligation. His decisions reflect a deep humanity as he consistently chooses our main character over his divine responsibilities, even at the cost of his people and himself. So these two myths revolve around Raphael's love for our main character, with Lemuria's stability at stake, and the flame, symbolizing Lemuria's survival, playing a central role in each. His repeated defiance of prophecy, despite its consequences, highlights his unchanging nature, a god willing to forsake immortality, power, and purpose for love. Whew, Love and Deepspace? Nah, man. The fanbase is already calling it Love and Depression, because these boys, they've been through a lot. Also, there is another fragmented information that we have that might have happened after Forgotten Sea myth, and it was shown in this 4-star card. So the Fragrant Dream card adds another layer to the tragedy of Raphael and our main character. So after the events of the Forgotten Sea, our main character somehow becomes the Abyssal Witch. We don't know exactly how this happened, whether it was a curse or a consequence of the sea god's heart, or something else entirely. In her new form, she loses all memory of her humanity and her connection to Raphael. Raphael finds her in the Abyssal Rift. He claims he wants to become human so he can be with a mortal girl he's fallen in love with, and he asks the Abyssal Witch to brew a potion, giving her his blood, a scale, and a melody, symbols tied to their shared past. But when the potion is ready, Raphael uses it on her instead. So the wind carries its effect to our main character, restoring her humanity and bringing back her memories. But Raphael also inhaled the potion himself, and he loses his immortality. This act may explain why Raphael can only reincarnate and is not an immortal. Okay, this is just my theory, but I feel like this all happened after the Forgotten Sea myth. After Raphael gave our main character his heart, the sea is angered by this, and she's somehow cursed to become this Abyssal Witch. But yeah, just like in Forgotten Sea and Abysswalker, Raphael puts our main character above himself again and again. But we've got a few unanswered questions here, like how our main character became an Abyssal Witch. Was it a punishment from the sea, or something tied to her connection to Raphael? We don't know. And also the potion's impact. While it seems to end Raphael's immortality, the details are kind of fuzzy. Like, could it have other effects that we don't fully understand? I guess we'll find out once we get more information about their story. So, let's come back to the present timeline, the main story. So, I gotta add, the reason why I said he's got a bounty on his head is because Raphael is ranked 6th in Ever's execution list. Why? Because he's been killing a fuck ton of people from Ever. And of course, he has his own reasons. And with that being said, Raphael was the one who killed Raymond, because Raymond is an investor in Xander Sciences, which is a subsidiary of Ever. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the heck Raymond was up to that got him killed, but considering how shady Ever is, and the fact that he had Raphael's relative's skeleton just casually decorating his house, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they were experimenting on Lemurians. And Raphael, if that is the case, fair enough. I support you. Kill away, man. Fun fact, Raphael was actually stalking our main character this whole time. Turns out he was a lecturer at her university and even hired people to keep an eye on her, but he got upset when people get too close or take pictures of her. There's this cryptic bit where it says a few people are also keeping an eye on her, and some have been planning for years. They're setting things into motion, followed by the threads of fate have already spun a web around her, and we might catch the others off guard. Like, who are they talking about? Is it Ever? Is it the other love interest? I need answers. Also, I feel like this is one of those things we won't fully get until the next plot bombshell drops. So we gotta be patient. Also, looking back at their first interaction in the main story, the way he just walked off after meeting her, that totally tracks now. Like, he was probably upset because she didn't remember him. And their next interaction after that first meeting, he was like, "Oh shit, you're that hunter from last time." Yeah, sure, play it cool, Raph. Meanwhile, he's been plotting and scheming this whole time, watching her this whole time. So it's good to know that our morally gray crow isn't the only stalker here. I'm just editing and I found something really interesting. I found Raphael's earlier designs. Guys, you know who he reminds me of? That guy from Diabolic Lovers?
Hey, little bitch. If it isn't little bitch.
Well, I love his look now, and I'm so glad that he didn't turn out like that. And then finally, let's talk about the main story branch, which is Land of Secret Flames. So, long story short, we used Raphael as a lead to investigate this island, where an illegal protocore transaction was supposedly disguised as a jewelry auction. The Hunters Association suspected an ether core might be hidden in one of the pieces of jewelry, so we went undercover. And this place just so happens to have a connection with Lemuria. The island used to be a part of the ocean, and our target, Maxwell, has connections to Ever. Man, I swear everything ties back to Ever. Once we have more information on them, I need to make a full breakdown video of Ever and Xander Sciences. So Raph took us underwater and found the Tome of the Sea God, and he used our main character's blood to awaken the tome, and boom, our main character suddenly remembered meeting Raphael on the shore when she was a child, their bond, and the promise that they made. But then this happened. Also, can we appreciate how beautiful he is? He is so goddamn pretty. Oh my god. But yeah, when this happened, our main character just knew what to do to calm him down. She said these magic words, and this bond mark that we get to see for the first time in chapter 7 was reactivated, and that was it. Like, was there a manual that we skipped over? Like, how did she know how to do that? Okay. I know that in God of Tides, it was explained that we have the power to basically order Raphael. And when this bond is activated, he also explained to us in Floral Kiss that he cannot refuse us. He literally can't disobey us. So does that mean that this man was gonna leave us to drown if it weren't for the power of this bond in chapter 8? But yeah, he literally just can't refuse us when this bond is activated, but it still does not explain how our main character just know what to say. Infold, I need answers now, please. I can't wait anymore. But my theory is that he is possessed by the wrath of the sea itself. And when he called our main character a traitor, it was because she was supposed to sacrifice her heart thousands of years ago, and she didn't. And now Lemuria is in ruins, so the sea is angry. And of course, the ending drops to another ever connection. And Raphael also mentioned something about the memory and the forgotten promise. His line, "settle the score," ties back to the anecdotes. It's all linked to the promise he made with our main character during their childhood. But here's my take. I don't think Raphael remembers his past as the sea god. He seems to feel the bond with our main character and understand its significance, but I don't think he consciously remembers everything. I'm still piecing this together, but based on what we've seen, that is my gut feeling, but I could be wrong. But yeah, the ending of this branch was actually really solid. Unlike Zane's branch, which basically
screamed,
"Get ready for more angst," this one had a bittersweet but meaningful resolution. Our main character acknowledged how important their bond and their promise are, and it really hits home how much they mean to each other. But I still have questions, like how on earth did our main character know the magic words to calm Raphael down? Like, did I miss a memo? I really wish they explained that more. But still, it was a really strong chapter overall, and it left me wanting answers. After doing a deep dive into his character, I gotta say I appreciate him and the way he's written so much more now. And it's one of those you think you know them by their stereotype situations until you realize that there's so many damn layers to this man. Honestly, all the boys have so much depth, and his story is just as good as the rest. He's insanely smart, morally gray as hell, just like Silas, and there's something dark and messed up about him in the best way. And man, I really hope the writers of this game are getting paid well, because they're feeding us some really, really good stuff. But that is it for this video. If you made it this far, I just want to establish that I will be posting once every 10 days. And if there is a new Love and Deepspace game update, it will take longer than 10 days because I want to play the game, okay? But thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you want, and consider subscribing if you like to hear me yap about this game. The next video will be about our main character. It's not gonna be about Savior. It's gonna be about our MC, I think. I might change my mind, but who knows? Alright, thank you so much for watching. Bye!